Guys, in this video I would like to talk about the new i9-14900HX used for laptops. Actually, this video it's not quite 100% technical, it's rather a new experience that I would like to share with you. It's more based on how I feel the interaction between this i9 and the process of work of an interior designer, rather than an approach based only on numbers, on technical numbers. The experience that you feel while you are creating your projects, your interior projects, actually I do mean the interaction between you and the computer and the technical part. It's directly linked to the process that you feel while you are working on your projects, your interior projects in 3ds Max. And while we are still linking to the numbers of our computers while we are working, the technical numbers, in this working process interferes actually a part where we ask ourselves how we actually feel the process of designing something in 3ds Max. I mean the interior part. In this video, I would like to make a comparison between my ex computer, my 5-year-old computer. I don't want to get too technical, still these are some of the features that my old computer had, and while we are still linked to some technical numbers of our computers, I would like to transfer that numbers or that technical part of our computers into some feeling that you get while you are working on your interior projects. When you start to work on your real interior projects, step by step you get to the phase where you have to increase your photorealism and your level of your renders. This process is directly linked to the layers of 3ds Max, like in Photoshop, and by adding new layers you not only increase your photorealism in your images, but you also increase the numbers of your computer. Working every day on your project starts to turn into a routine, especially interior designer beginners thinks that the interior process it's so awesome that you have to adjust only the textures and the colors. That's actually the most interesting part of any interior design project. But when it comes to gray stages, the measurement, the layouts, the sketches, the model, that is actually that not so interesting part while we get to the textures and colors. This gray routine, which actually shuts down a lot of motivation for interior designer beginners. Well, this gray part, it's also linked to numbers, and it's actually linked to how your computer interacts while you are working. Now, of course, this technical part interferes, and while we are talking about the new features of our new computers or our new laptops, and this gray stage or this everyday gray routine, it's actually killing a lot of this artistic vibe and interior rules that have to be applied in your interior projects and your interior sketches. Yes, it's true, you wake up every morning, you drink your coffee and you start to work, but from every lag that you start to get from your computer or your technical numbers actually starts to annoy you. And that's why if you would transfer these technical numbers into a feeling, that's actually a feeling, not a technical number in the end. Depends your mood and how you are designing your interior spaces. We all feel good when we show our final results to our clients and they are happy. Now here interferes my main subject of this video. As I said, I would not link too much to technical part. Still, one more time, I got a Ryzen 7. My ex computer, my 5-year-old computer, it's actually still working, and with these parameters it's still giving the result that I need to show my interior projects. There are some people that link too much to numbers, to technical numbers. Of course, it's hard to work without a computer. Still, you must feel the power that you got in your hand and what this power can do to help you to get to your final result. While using this Ryzen 7 with 16GB RAM, I'll try to describe this power that I feel while I am working on my interior projects and the limits that I feel while I'm passing from this computer while I'm working into the lag section. And of course my new experience with the i9-14900HX, where this lag and these limits were pushed further, of course. And I would like to try to explain those limits using not some technical numbers, but rather a real perceiving of interior spaces. This does not mean that I'll skip totally the technical part, and while I was talking about the lag part, well, every computer at a point got its lag. I can say that you can load this power above 3GB if you use advanced layers for your materials and in your scene, and if you use 3D models, 3D Pro models, I guess it's somewhere around like maybe 5 or 6 interior rooms. Yes, I know it's very easy to count that number if you're working perfect. but you are not working perfect while you are developing an interior design project. It takes time. You got the sketch, you have to move, you have to combine. You must keep in mind that you got models outside your walls, and counting all that, you can reach up to maybe 3 interior rooms. Also keep in mind the client might have changes, and that's why you can push it up to maybe 3.5 gigabytes. I got a video card of 3 gigabytes, that's why maybe it sticks to this number. If it happens that my project reaches the limit of 4 gigabytes, working with the lag that I receive, it's almost impossible. When you are designing, I think that lag is breaking your artistic mood. In other words, I could say the focus that you are trying to put on details and proportion between objects. And that's why if you are trying to link the technical part 100% to the mood that you are trying to get, the productivity of your actions in time, it's quite tight linked to the process of how you are designing. Well, if we will get to max, I would like to show you this scene. This is a project that I'm working on right now, and through these portals that you see here on the right side, I got a big kitchen as well to model, and actually I got one more interior that is not shown here on the left side. And now if we are talking about the limits, I got to model those 3 interiors. They are linked between them, of course, and my file with the models outside got already 3.5 gigabytes. Yes, I did hide the left interior, the left part, but we all understand that we got common details for all these 3 interiors. Yes, of course, we can break this into 3 pieces, but opening different files and then merging the different pieces that we had in the previous interior seems like the same lag that we talked about that breaks your artistic mood, and I would say the flow of feeling those 3 interiors like one piece. That's actually what you are doing when you are taking real interior design projects. Clients actually expect you to link all the spaces into one idea. There are so many interiors out there that are called to be designed, but in fact they are just spaces with new furniture and new remodeling, and a lot of times usually we call that interior design. And that's why if you truly seek an interior design approach, you'll have to model all those spaces in one piece. And the biggest thing is that the clients would like to see that as well. In my case here, this will be a view for all this living up to the point where my kitchen ends, and I will have to maintain the same idea that I got here in this living, so that in the end I obtain 2 spaces that seem to made from one piece. Well, here interfered my technical limit, and that's why I had to get an upgrade. For certain reasons I didn't get the PC that I wanted, so I had to stick to a laptop. It uses i9-14900HX with 32 gigabytes RAM, and I would like to show you how it works and its real power based on this interior scene, and also I would like to compare it with my older computer. I know you will say that these are not things to compare, but I said from the start this is not a technical test. I would say this is rather like a perception test and how it feels to work on this i9 using interior design. I'll try to change the technical numbers in something that you can see and perceive, and although I think this belongs to a wider subject, but still I think it sticks more to interior design. Okay, let's get to max. Now there's certainly a link between what you give to your client, I mean the images, the materials that you prepare, and the time that you spend for your work. Depending on the project, I do use somewhere around 2000 by 1000 pixels for image. I'm in the aspect ratio of 2:1. I'm using also a V-Ray denoiser for my images. And although there are some projects that do require noise threshold lower than this number, than this 0.01, usually these middle settings give me a quite good result. The denoiser manages to get rid of the most of the noise that I got in my images. That's why I can say that this noise threshold of 0.01, it's quite okay compared to the time that you spend while you are creating your renders, especially when you have a few renders to create. Usually clients see these images on their phones, and this is one more reason to say that this is almost enough. I mean the time that you spend and the image that you obtain and you send to your client. Don't get me wrong, I'm totally for high quality renders, but when you got a lot of spaces and you got a lot of views to render, you can forget in a way about 0.003 threshold, I mean the noise threshold. I did use it long ago when I left my renders overnight and the V-Ray denoiser wasn't implemented yet in V-Ray. this was the only way to obtain clean images that I had to send the next day to my clients. Now I can say that V-Ray denoiser saved the day. Keep in mind you cannot go too low on your quality. Also do keep in mind that I'm using brute force and light cache for my renders. This is also adding time to render, but I quitted the adaptive modes a few years ago. I actually do find that brute force and light cache do a better job. Okay, I'll switch to render so you can see what is happening. I'll turn on the render so we can see what is happening. I'll cut some scenes so you don't wait too much. Still, I would like you to see the speed. Now we are creating the light cache, so you can see there at the bottom the speed of the light cache and the image how it is being produced. Again, I will cut so we can see the final stage where the light cache passes into the render. One minute to wait for the light cache to merge its passes. And by the way, you can see the 16 cores of my old computer. And now I would like you to see the speed, actually what we call the speed of the render. You can see, by the way, the render time, the final render time. We got 1 hour and a half somewhere. And keep in mind we use V-Ray denoiser as well. Now I would like to transfer this file to the new i9 and we will give it a test as well. You can use, by the way, this plugin to collect your scene and transfer it to another computer. Here at the bottom you can see the update and you can choose the path to update and click collect. You can also, and you should, create a copy of your max file, and here you can input your path to collect and to create your scene to transfer. Of course, it also depends what space you are rendering and the things that you got in your scene, but I usually do get somewhere around 2 hours to create an image. And also keep in mind that you always have 2 or 3 views by room. And now I would like to switch to this new i9 so we can compare these both results. And I will repeat myself one more time. It's not only about the time, the technical time that you get from your render. It's about keeping that artistic flow or that artistic mode without lag, and that is critical. I did not say that time does not count. Of course it counts, but the flow is the thing that actually drives your productivity while you are creating your interiors or whatever. First of all, I would like to point out a visual thing, the buckets of V-Ray while we are rendering. Take a moment to see how they are changing. And now let's see the speed of our buckets using this i9. And the second thing, the second visual thing, this is the time. We can see the time for the first computer and this i9 for the second one. In conclusion, I could say that this i9 is somewhere about 3 times faster than this older one. Also, to keep in mind that lag thing, the program starts at these older computers somewhere about maybe close to 1 minute, plus you have to wait to load your file. This is taking somewhere about maybe 1 minute depending on the file. On this i9, these things take about maybe 10 seconds, 10-15 seconds. So in conclusion, I could say this is definitely yes for this i9. Well, I think that's it. I said from the start, this is not a pure technical test. Still, I tried to create like a test. How do you perceive and practice this power or these numbers, these technical numbers? I think this video was useful, especially for interior designers. And till next time.